I talk to a lot of people who want to study economics, but they're worried about the kind of career options that are going to be available to them once they graduate. And I can understand this. It's hard to get a vision of what an economics major gives you access to. Like, you might not think that an economics major could give you access to a career where you could develop apps and help transform the future of education. But we know people who do that.
My name is Joshua Howland. I work at Lambda School and I majored in economics.
Hi, I'm Craig and welcome to Market Power, where we believe in the power of markets and economics to shape our world. So if you're interested in joining this community of people interested in and excited about economics, be sure to subscribe and check out my newsletter in the description. Joshua is a product manager at Lambda School, one of the businesses I am most excited about right now. And Joshua got interested in economics much in the same way that I and probably you did.
I was going to business school, and one of the required courses that you have to take is Econ 110. So I took Econ 110, and they had this like ancillary material, armchair economist, and a couple others. And I read them, and I loved Econ 110 more than any other class I was in. And so I was like, I got to take a couple more econ classes. So then pretty soon it was like, this is the only thing I want to do is economics. So I dropped my business school, stopped going to business school, went to economics.
Joshua did not start off as a product manager. He started in finance, which is a career I think that people are interested in when they start studying economics. And it turns out economics is really useful for starting off in those careers.
Yeah, so it was a long journey. I mean, I went into banking during 2008 financial crisis. So we did mortgage-backed security. I did all the model predictions for how much the cash flow would be. So we ran like Monte Carlo simulations and like basically everything I was learning in econometrics, I was like, yes, I'm using it.
But for Joshua, this was not the career he decided to land on. And he made a pivot towards a career that you might not normally associate with an economics degree.
It was 2008. So it was like right when the iPhone apps were announced. And I was like, oh, this is going to blow up. Like iPhone apps are going to blow up. So I was like, I want to do that. I want to be like in like an industry that's going to explode.
So if you decide to change careers after that first one doesn't work out, does that mean all of your economics training just goes out the window? What use could an economics background be in a product management job?
And product is this really unique job where what you have to do is you have to understand the business needs. You have to understand the user's needs. You have to understand the market and where the market's going to go. And so it would take all these inputs and you have to build a prioritization model.
You see, developing apps takes a lot of skills that are actually tightly related to economics. You need to understand customer preferences. You need to be able to understand allocating the resources on the app, how to track metrics, how to price the app. Lots of these things are directly connected to economics. And turns out people who study economics make really good product managers.
I hire product managers. I've hired a dozen product managers. And I would actually say, if you have an econ degree, I'm way more likely to hire you for a product leadership position than maybe any other degree. And so as you start thinking about like, what did I learn in economics, especially microeconomics of like incentives and behavior, these are things that people just don't naturally process. Is the economic science teaches you how to solve problems. And that became a really important skill that I learned really from my microeconomics class at Price or reading behavioral economics books to really understand kind of what people's motivations are. And that, I think that that makes you a good product manager.
One of my favorite insights he gave was how he applies the law of diminishing returns to designing products.
So much of product development comes down to like building something that really solves the problem for users. My daughter and I talk about ice cream and she's like, I love ice cream. I could have ice cream for every meal. And I'm like, well, but if you had ice cream every meal, eventually you'd get sick of ice cream. But you have this with product where you're building product for people. And so often it's like, I just want them to use it 5 times a day or, whatever. And it's like, actually, you need to figure out what the diminishing returns to scale are for your product and make sure that you're getting them to use it at the right rate. If you're a note-taking app like Evernote, you do want them to use it 5 times a day, 10 times a day, right? But if you're like a performance review app to help people give performance reviews and feedback to their peers, you do not want them using it 5 times a day. They'll be sick of it. They'll hate it every time they come into it. And then they'll start to resent that system.
When I asked Joshua why economics was so valuable to his job, I just loved his response.
And the truth is that like, they're not insights that you just like come up with. It's not like, oh, I'm going to go research diminishing returns to scale as I'm building my product. It's like, you have to have studied it, have thought about it, have been processing it. And then in the moment where there's a stakeholder that's like, we should send them a push notification every single day. And you're like, no, we shouldn't, because there's diminishing returns to scale. It's like a click that like happens because you were previously studying it, thinking about it, and processing it allows you to make better decisions in this other frame of reference.
Studying economics is about developing thinking patterns, about habits in your thinking that you can draw on later. Like he said, you're not going to crack open an economics textbook and just start learning this stuff in the moment that you need it. You need to have that foundation so that way when those problems come up, you can draw on those things to solve the problems that you have in front of you. I love this. This is exactly what economics is about. I also really appreciate that for him, economics is not just about his career, it's about raising his family.
I have 4 kids now. Specifically with children, I think it's been the biggest deal. Like, we all make decisions based on overconfidence and biases, like, all the time. And I think kids are really bad at that. So as I teach my kids, just trying to help them process their biases and trying to help them there's just such silly things, but things like sunk costs or opportunity costs. It's they're just these small things that you're having a conversation with an 8-year-old and they want to buy a bike, and you're like, okay, well, you can buy a bike, but you can't get the bike and the camera. It's just which one do you want more? And everyone kind of processes this, but I think it's really helped me think through how to explain it to my daughter in a way that helps her understand.
Studying economics opens up so many opportunities in your career, in your community, and in your family. And you should be able to go forward with full confidence that there are opportunities available for you. I am going to be interviewing more people so that way you can get a vision of what you can accomplish. When those videos are ready, I'll put them up here. If you want to know about them right when they come out, go ahead and subscribe or check out my newsletter in the description. Thank you, Joshua, for your time, and we'll see you on the next episode of Market Power.